Hey guys, this is Nehemiah Peterson.
Greg Angel.
And we're doing a Q&A for you guys today. A bunch of people sent in questions over Instagram and over Facebook, and we just wanted to give you guys some answers to your questions that you have for us. So we have the question, what's the best tech trick you can learn on YouTube? And we wanted to let you guys know that if you haven't seen it already, we have a playlist on our YouTube for tech tutorials. So we're gonna put that link in the description below. We're gonna be updating that as well with more and more players. We have a tutorial from Zami in there, some Element tutorials, and there's gonna be plenty more players doing tutorials in the next year, so yeah. The next question is Tech Creators a cult, and where do I sign up? What do you think, Greg?
We'll leave a link down in the description.
Yeah, you guys can sign up for our cult. The link is below, so. The next question we have is, what are your favorite yo-yos for tech? And me and Greg put a lot of thought into this about the 3 big things that make a good tech yo-yo. And the 3 things were mainly stability, a good weight, and a wide gap. The gap doesn't necessarily have to be like the actual yo-yo width itself, but like the gap within here, where the string gap is. That's really important just for making sure that your yo-yo isn't binding up, because usually in tech you're going to get into really technical, intricate mounts, and you want a wide gap so that that doesn't like bind up during your trick. So the next question is, we were asked on tips about creativity in tech as well as smoothness in tech. So why don't you talk about smoothness, since you're easily smoother than me in your tricks?
I don't know, for smoothness, I just try to do stuff where the yo-yo keeps its momentum, and I don't try to force it to go where it doesn't want to go. So like, you just like kind of feel where the direction is, and then you just play on that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think it's really important too in smoothness just to, a lot of times in tech, for me at least, one of the reasons I'm a lot less smooth than some of the other players is because I see an element that's right there in front of me, and I want to do it so badly that I kind of sacrifice momentum for the element itself, because I really want to go that route. But you kind of have to pick your battles, because people definitely enjoy watching smooth tech more, and it's something that I've been working on in my style, but you really do need to not differ away from that momentum. If the yo-yo is taking you to the right, don't go to the left if it's going to the right. Like, it sounds obvious, but a lot of the times we find when we started doing tech that we did veer from that, or a lot of players who are learning tech will veer from that. That's like one of the biggest mistakes in learning tech, that a lot of the times people want to try to get into a more dense mount and they sacrifice that momentum, and that's definitely a rookie mistake that I still make sometimes, and it's really important to make sure that you're keeping your momentum. So, and then creativity, ironically, watch more players. I get creative ideas by watching yo-yoers play, like tech players, and then learning elements that they do and making my own variations of them. I know that Greg has a trick from a mount from Ivan Maslin, and he basically took the mount and put his own spin on it, and now he has a completely original trick, even though it starts from something that someone else made. So it's definitely something where you want to be learning things, because not a lot of players do tech these days, or at least the type of tech that, you know, we subjectively talk about mostly. So it's really important to watch players, learn things, and go from there. So the next goal for tech creators. We had 2 goals in mind. The first one being we want to find a way to film international players that are on Tech Creators and get them on the YouTube. And then the other goal, do you want to let them know the other goal we were going to do?
Yeah, we're trying to make shirts for the general public and maybe some stickers. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's something huge that we want to do. So let us know in the comments if you guys would buy shirts, but it's really going to depend on you guys. Like if you guys would buy them, let us know, because we really want to make them. And just so you guys know, all the money would be going right back into tech creators. So let us know if you guys want to help us out. So the next question we've been asked is what to avoid when making tech. And me and Greg talked about it, and we have 3 major things that we wanted to address. So Greg's going to tell you about the first 2 really quick.
Yeah, so the first one is just conflicting momentum, like we had said before. Like, don't try to force the yo-yo to do what you want, kind of let it take its course, I guess. And then the second one was dropping layers without a purpose. And I just think it's important that everything within the trick has a purpose. So for example, if you're dropping something, you should be dropping it so that you can move into another mount and try to keep the trick around like the same density. Don't like go from something super dense like a trapeze back into something super dense. I mean, you could do that, but I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of that.
Yeah, same as well. Like I think it's really important to make sure that you keep a level amount of density within your tricks. If you're trying to do like, you know, the type of tech that we've been talking about, it's important to remain in that level of density throughout from the beginning to the end, unless you're doing it purposefully, like to get into something different, like you said, or to do an element that requires you to drop something. But yeah, so that's for sure important. And then the last thing really quick that we wanted to talk about was doing elements that don't advance the trick. So for instance, there's certain elements that you can do that will get you into the same mount that you would be able to get into if you weren't to have done that. So for an example, we'll show you this clip. So this is kind of what we were talking about, guys. We wanted to address, for instance, this would be a more purposeful way to double up on the string, whereas certain players will do an element like this that gets you into the exact same mount and the momentum is the same, but there's not necessarily a purpose behind it. So does simple tech exist? This question was very interesting to me because we don't really talk about like different like densities across players. Like for instance, Greg, I feel is a lot more dense than Tyler Viano, but you would consider him a tech player, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's like classifications that I have like in my head, and I think like NIM also has them too, kind of. Like we'll call things that are like, that we think are like called pseudo tech, I guess you could call it, where it's like probably like a layer away from being tech, like Michael Stex, Kazuki Mori, players like that, where they use transitions and stuff that like we would use, I think, and it looks pretty cool, of course. And but like it's just like a layer or 2 away.
Yeah. And we plan on making another video, kind of like a tech philosophy video, if you will, explaining more in depth about that. So be on the lookout for that as well. All right, so the last question we're going to talk about is the most creative players in our opinion. Again, this is super subjective. These are our top 3 players that we chose. So Greg, you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. All right, so probably my number 1 would be Nikita Apon, even though he doesn't really yo-yo that much anymore. But his stuff is just, it's so different from everything else that he's really creative. And I love his like just use of like 3D, like his use of space, I guess you could say. I think that's really cool. My number 2 would probably be Yvonne Moslin, just because he'll take like, oh, this is a double or nothing, and then be like, surprise, now it's a tech trick. He'll do that a lot. And then number 3, probably Yu Fujita, because he has some really crazy stuff that I never would have thought of. Like he has a lot of stuff where he does like makes everything like one hand and then flips it around and then goes into something else, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my 3 favorite tech players, I'm going to start off with Darnell Harrison. Honestly, I think if there were any other tech player that I had to switch styles with, per se, would probably be Darnell. I think that his use of zoning, his use of flow, his unconventional slacks within dense elements is just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know, he's for sure my favorite tech player. Next is, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this right, but Levon Chetny, how do you spell it?
Chetyan, I think.
Chetyan? Okay, but Levon, he's amazing. My favorite part about his style is just the fact that it looks so visually appealing, and it's like very, very dense and smooth at the same time. And even without analyzing it and breaking it down, it's amazing. But then when you break it down, it's even crazier. Like, I had just watched his most recent video about, a couple days ago, and it was like the 5th time I had seen the video, and I saw a new element, and I'm trying to make a trick from it right now. So I think his yo-yoing is very, very interesting for sure. And then the last player that I have on my list is Ahmad Charisma. I think that Ahmad is definitely the most rounded out player. He has a lot of tech, he has really good arm tech, he does straight jackets, his zoning is amazing, he's smooth, he's dense, like, he has it all. And it's just so impressive to me that somebody can work so hard and do so much tech and have it be all so good, and to be good at like every aspect of it as well. I just think that's incredibly impressive. So yeah, those are my 3. So that is the end of this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Be on the lookout for the new videos that we have coming out. We have a video from JT Nickel coming out, Greg's new video is coming out, new video from Drew, new video from Adrian Velez. We have a lot of stuff coming out, so be on the lookout for that. It's all edited and ready to go. We're just planning out when to drop everything. And also, let us know, one more time, let us know in the comments about those shirts. If you guys are interested, if you guys would buy them, please let us know, because we don't want to make them if nobody's going to buy them. But if you guys would buy them, we want to make them, so just let us know. So.
And we'll leave some links down in the description, like linking to certain, I don't know, maybe videos or players' Instagrams and stuff like that that we talked about.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, guys.
Peace. Jazz hands.
Yes.